Good morning, gentlemen. Very sunny weather. I'm going to have a short talk with you. And this time I'm going to talk to you something about Pakistan. Pakistan is an enigma in the sense that the roots of India and Pakistan are almost the same. They were part of the subcontinent and ruled by the British. So the culture, the ethos, the type of government was the same. But after 47, Pakistan went on a different path compared to India, which became a secular democracy, while Pakistan decided to become an Islamic state. Nothing wrong with it. But Islam itself, as we have seen in history, has not been a unifying force. Otherwise, we would not have had an empire like the Ottoman Empire, which ruled other Muslim countries, or the fact that there are 56 Muslim countries now. All of them profess to be following the Islamic faith. That's another point. We'll talk of something about Pakistan in particular now. And the situation in the country in the year 2023 is pretty bad. If you look at history, way back in 69-70, Pakistan was a composite nation and its economic growth was better than India, and the Western powers preferred Pakistan to India. At that time, nobody could have envisioned that Pakistan will break up into two parts. They thought the state of Pakistan had been created on the basis of the two-nation theory, that is, Hindus and Muslims could not live together, and the Muslims of the subcontinent would live as one single entity. It didn't happen that way. What actually happened was that there was a language problem, and economic problem, and the Bengali-speaking population, though predominantly Muslim, broke away from West Pakistan. One of the reasons was, of course, the enforcement of Urdu as the national language in preference to Bengali. And another point was that at that time, East Pakistan had the bigger population than West Pakistan. But the results were a little different as far as political power was concerned. It was concentrated in West Pakistan, and with the result, even the economy was dominated by West Pakistan, and all the foreign exchange earnings which were coming through jute exports from East Pakistan were actually utilized only in West Pakistan. There was economic disparity, disgruntlement, and it led to a terrorist organization taking shape, that is the Mukti Bahini. And of course, the Indian Prime Minister Indira Gandhi did give support and succor to the Mukti Bahini. The Pakistanis retaliated by setting up Operation Searchlight. Their idea was to bring the population of East Pakistan down by expelling 10 million Hindus to India. It didn't work out, and the country broke into two. Another major problem of breakup was a man called Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. This man, unfortunately, is a very vilified character in Pakistan even now, and many people realize, including General Musharraf has also stated, that the partition of Pakistan was because of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. How did it happen? Bhutto claimed to represent the entire people of West Pakistan. But out of about 145 seats, his party won only about 83. While the East Pakistan leader was Sheikh Mujibur Rahman of the Awami Party, who out of 152 odd seats in the state assembly, won 151. So he was in a majority and should have been logically invited to form the government. Now, another point which people forget is that this was the first time ever that a one man, one vote principle had been adopted in Pakistan, and at that time the president was General Yahya Khan, and he has enforced this thing one man, one vote, with the result the majority of the seats were with East Pakistan. But at the same time, he was not a man of any guts, and he gave in to the demagogy of Bhutto and his chauvinism, and it was decided that Sheikh Mujibur Rahman would not be offered the prime ministership of Pakistan, though he had the majority. The net result of what happened after that was that Sheikh Mujib was arrested on charges of treason, of being an Indian agent. The Mufti Bahani had already started an insurrection. Pakistan launched Operation Searchlight, and then finally the Indian army intervened. Pakistan was defeated and the country broke into two. Now I have brought out these sequence of facts in a brief manner, basically to show that the seeds of destruction are inherent in Pakistan. The situation continued after 71 for some time. It was moving along a little smoothly. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto was trying to pander to Islamic sentiments and thought. He made some very silly statements like, we will have the nuclear bomb even if the Pakistanis have to eat grass. One doesn't go around making such statements. But he paid a price. He was overthrown by his own fatigue. General Zia-ul-Haq, who held a justicial trial, got him hanged in the Lokpat jail. It was all over for Bhutto. I think his grandson, who is now the foreign minister of Pakistan, Bilawal Bhutto, must bear in mind what happened to his grandfather. Even his mother was blown to smithereens in a terrorist attack in Rawalpindi by the Islamic terrorist organization, and at that time that organization had said that we have destroyed America's most precious asset. So she was the mother of Bilawal Bhutto, and even Bilawal Bhutto has not learnt anything even now, and he's talking something about the Indian threat and supporting the terrorism in Kashmir. He's also gone and made some silly statements against Afghanistan, and the Afghans have reacted in a manner which he will not like. What happened after that death of Bhutto is the advent of General Zia-ul-Haq. He had no political base, and the only way he could remain in power was pandering to extremist sentiments. He brought in the Hooded Ordinance, in which he lowered the prestige of women, and till date nobody has the courage to repeal that ordinance which remains. Crimes like rape and others were taken away from the Pakistan penal code and put under the Sharia. And in the Sharia you can't convict anybody because you need 4 witnesses, and a woman's evidence equal to half of a man. I'll not comment on it. Most of the countries in the world, Turkey, the UAE and all, don't follow these principles, but then you can't help it if Pakistan in these particular crimes wishes to follow it. The country continued to go downhill because it was maintaining an inordinately large army, 750,000 soldiers under arms with an air force, and they wanted parity with India. How can you have parity with India when you're 1/5 the size of India? You have no resources. Nothing is available in Pakistan. And this massive budget plus a subsidizing of terrorist movements in Pakistan, this was the theory which was set up by General Zia-ul-Haq. And his idea was that India would bleed to death with 100 cuts. India is too big a giant, too big a country to bleed to death. It may be slow in reacting, but certainly India is not going to die. The net result is the economy began to eat Pakistan. And other day I had some very heartrending pictures of Pakistan, wherein one of the men who was the father of 6 children was killed when he was trying to take grain and rice, wheat for his home. Because in Pakistan now there is rampant inflation. Agricultural produce has been destroyed by natural causes and by mismanagement. 3, the exports have tanked. Pakistan has to pay billions of dollars as payment of the loans they have taken. They have no money, and the only so-called help they have is from Saudi Arabia, which on the basis of Pakistan being an Islamic and Sunni country is likely to help out. But that help also is minimal. It's not going to tide over the problem in Pakistan, a prosperous country. Pakistan has something else. When Zia-ul-Haq started supporting terrorism, and the Pakistan army, and in particular the ISI, started cultivating terrorist organizations, which has been documented by the United Nations, the birds had come home to roost. They had to come. Because the terrorists are seamless persons. They got no allegiance other than their own kin. And there's something called the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, which has now started an insurrection, which is going on for the last 7-8 years, to bring about the Sharia in Pakistan. They have also set up a shadow cabinet. They have their own ministers appointed, and they are fighting tooth and nail with Pakistan. There is the Baluch Liberation Army. There's so many other splinter terrorist groups moving around, and yet Pakistan didn't learn anything, and they kept on supporting organizations like the Jaish-e-Mohammed, which carry out terrorist attack in Kashmir. So what has to happen has happened. Pakistan now has got a zero balance of payments, got no money to pay back their loans. They were relying on China, but mind you, the Chinese loans are very big, but they are short term with high interest. And China, like Shylock in Shakespeare's Merchant of Venice, wants his pound of flesh back. Alternatively, you will have to give something to China, like Sri Lanka did. They gave the Hambabota port to China for 99 years, made that area a sovereign part of China. I don't know if the Lankans feel very proud about it. Same thing with Pakistan. I think they're going to hand over Gordon to China. And now, Pakistan doesn't know what to do, because there is internal political dissension also. And the man who is leading this movement against the government is Imran Khan. Now, I will say Imran Khan is not a Muhammad Ali Jinnah or something on that manner of that caliber. He's a small-time leader, but he has the propensity to create a lot of trouble. And this is what he's doing. He had a grouse in the sense that he was removed in a midnight vote, maybe as instigation from some of the world powers, I don't know, I'm not sure. But definitely it's more than what meets the eye. And what actually happened was that Imran Khan, in the middle of the night, was asked to go home. He started a long march, but then he lost heart after an attack on his life. He had a bullet lodged in his foot or something. He survived. I wish him best of luck. I hope he is not assassinated. And he became the first Pakistan Prime Minister in history to be voted out of office. And he carried on the tradition in Pakistan that the Prime Ministers or the executive heads of the power, that the governments were either assassinated, shot dead, imprisoned, hanged, and never allowed to complete their terms. Even the previous Prime Minister, Nawaz Sharif, has run away to London. He's hiding there, but he's controlling Pakistan from there, mind you. So Imran has similarly been accused of so many other things also by the NAB, that is the National Accountable Bureau. They have said that he's been selling the Tosh Khana gifts, which were received by his office from foreign dignitaries and countries, and profiting the money. So he's been debarred from election for some time, for I think a couple of years, and corruption charges have been filed against him. At the same time, he's been criticizing the army, but he didn't talk much. Mind you, he's a little subdued now, because he knows the army can be very, very drastic, and after all, they hanged Zulfikar Ali Bhutto with one stroke. Imran is too small a man compared to Bhutto. Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, and God knows, I hope he remains healthy and fine. But the army can't be trusted, it never can be. And it is like a Frankenstein monster. The Pakistan people have to get rid of this army. That is the first thing. Replace it with a self-defense force which is much smaller. But who's going to bail the cash? Nobody can, because everybody talks of everything else, but nobody wants to criticize the army because they are scared to do it. The situation in Pakistan now is bordering on chaos. And it's not I who am stating it, it's the Pakistanis themselves who are stating it. You can go through the Pakistan radio broadcasts on TV and the discussions, and you will realize how dangerous is the situation in Pakistan. The present Prime Minister, Shahbaz Sharif, who is the brother of the previous Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, has got a dozen cases of corruption filed against him, and he's getting away now because he's the Prime Minister. And Bilawal Bhutto has got nothing to be proud of what happened to his mother and father. I thought he would learn a lesson and look for peace. He's not doing that. And he's continuing his self-destructive streak. It's all continuing in Pakistan. It's so very sad that here is a nation which has the same racial stock as India, at least the North Indians and the Pakistanis, the same people. And yet, look at the way where Pakistan has gone. Food shortages, rampant inflation, governments not able to pay their salary bills, power outages, malls shut, shopping complexes shut after 8 p.m. And now agitations have commenced. There was an agitation in Gilgit-Baltistan where the people said, we want to go back and join India. The Baluch Liberation Army is not relenting. Their agitations against the Chinese. So all in all, it is what we call the witches' cauldron. Pakistan, you want to look for where the witches are there, how many are there, and the cauldron and all the paraphernalia, well, Pakistan is the place. I do not know how Pakistan will get out of this morass. It's never going to get out. And it will require another Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and none is available on the scene. When people like Shahbaz Sharif and Bilawal Bhutto and Imran Khan and the other person is that Nawaz Sharif are the head of affairs, how can you have anything coming up? And then they are backed by the army, because the army is an axe to grind. If you send the army to the barracks and reduce it from 750,000 to say 250,000, that's what they really need. What's going to happen? Pakistan army will not allow it. They want a slice of the biggest budget available. And they are sitting on a false edifice, the Pakistan army. The army is not a professional force, they're not a fighting force. They haven't won a single war against any country in the world. They haven't even been able to win the terrorist war. But the Taliban is playing hell into them. So it's all a very solid state of affairs. I hope, gentlemen, things will settle down, because nobody wants an unstable Pakistan. But I have a hunch that in a decade or so, Pakistan could break into 2 or 3 states, and that will be a tragedy. More so for the British and the Americans, who had put all the eggs in the basket of Pakistan. Every time the Americans would support Pakistan, they did it from the time of Nixon, but nothing has come out of it. And now you know what's happening. America itself is going to be in trouble. How many countries is America going to keep bankrolling? They are already bankrolling the Ukrainian war, the Ukrainians. They are spending millions of dollars of maintaining the troops in South Korea, Germany. What for? And all this is the cost of the American taxpayer. The day the Americans realize that all this is futile, they fought 20 years in Afghanistan, spent $2 or $3 trillion and then yet went and lost the war. Is a credit. Pakistan is another bad egg in their basket, but they haven't given up. And Biden still got romantic notions about Pakistan. But Pakistan, in my view, is at the end of the teeter. They don't have the leadership and they have got no resources other than Saudi Arabia giving them some rules. I hope, gentlemen, Pakistan doesn't break up, but the signs are ominous. I don't know what's going to happen. I will close now and wish all of you the best and hope you will subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends. Goodbye and Jai Hind. Take care. God bless.